That was not a good game from the Avs. In fact, you can pretty definitively say that that was a bad game for the Avs, probably one of the worst they've played this year. Be crazy not to say that. But let me try to convince you at least that it wasn't as bad as you think it was. Avs lose to the Minnesota Wild 6-2.
Oh my goodness gracious! Wasn't it time? Score! Justice is served!
First 10 minutes, last 10 minutes of this game were awful. Cannot be acceptable from the Avs. Hands down, you just cannot play 20 minutes of a game like that and expect to win. No exceptions there. Both of them just were disastrous hockey from the Avs. The first 10, absolute mess with the puck. They had nothing going for them because of it, and it was just a struggle. The last 10, they just completely collapsed on themselves, giving up 3 goals in the last 10 minutes of a 1-goal game. Obviously bad hockey. There's no magic answer to those 20 minutes. The Avs are better than that, and they just have to play better than that. Pretty much that simple. But those 40 minutes in between, the Avs were actually okay at times. Wouldn't say good, might not even say decent, but passable. I already mentioned the first 10 minutes being a dumpster fire. Right at the end of that, Minnesota gets on the board first. 2 bad decisions in about 1 second here. Or, well, bad play. Not necessarily a bad decision here. Kadri tries to get it back to the point, but completely flubs it and a little bit hangs Timmins out to dry. Just out of frame here, Timmins decides to pinch in. That's strictly the wrong decision. If Timmins backs off, it's at least a 3-on-2. The Avs aren't, in super big danger. It's still not great. But instead, Timmins decides to pinch in. A terrible pinch as it was already in control of Minnesota at that point, and he gets beat on it. Suddenly it's a 3-on-1 back the other way, leaving rookie Bo Byram to defend. Granted, Timmins is a rookie too, so there were going to be rookies back there either way, but a 3-on-1 is just bad at all times, and it took 2 plays for the Avs to get there in the matter of a second. Minnesota works it around. Honestly, I think they overpassed this quite a bit, as there's going to be 2 more passes coming through here. Byram does what he can. Look, not a ton you can do on a 3-on-1 with effective passing like this, but things kind of continue to get worse. As this pass comes across, Zuccarello's going to double clutch it. Grubauer was initially sliding to his right, tries to get back to his left, and has to respect the one-timer, or at least a quick shot here. So he full commits to making the initial save, then kind of gets stuck low. As Zuccarello's double clutching this puck, he can't reset himself, he can't get himself high up against his post, and he gets beat above the glove. You run that scenario 100 times, and from top to bottom, I don't think the Avs could have played it much worse. The rest of the first plays out with the Avs starting to find a little bit here and there. They actually nearly even up the shots by the end of it, but as is becoming the norm of late, they have nothing to show for it. Now, both teams did hit a pair of posts in this game. Hey, so Minnesota actually hit a 3rd post as well, so yeah, a lot of good posts. That could have changed the score, could have made it out of control, to be honest, but those pucks didn't go in. Kind of the story for the Avalanche. Those pucks didn't go in. So, when you put it into context of that period, the fact that the Avs are only down 1-0, really not as bad as it seems. Still bad, obviously, but it's still very much a game at that point after a bad period. And the second period was better, outside of a couple of critical plays. The Avs looked more like themselves. Still some sloppiness that they just haven't been able to work out since coming back from that COVID break. Pucks rolling off sticks, again, it's something that has to be fixed almost immediately at this point. But their style was good, they were controlling play, they outshot the Wild 10-5 in the period, and in the first half of the second, they got what they finally needed. A proper depth goal. Good 200-foot hockey from the Avs here. First of all, Devon Toews was great tonight. The one defenseman who didn't really struggle too much for the Avs. Takes away a puck there. Compher all the way back in behind his own net, helping his D to get it out and around. Now the Avs end up with control of the puck, and they're going the other way. The Wild get caught a little bit. 2 forwards in very deep, and a 3rd one in the offensive zone. All of a sudden, you're on the rush here with both Toews and Sam Girard breaking back the other way. Avs activating the D. It's very, very effective for them. A bunch of good puck work here. Toews drops it off to Sam Girard. Girard has it walking down the middle. Does eventually opt to pass here. You'd like to see most players shoot there. Sam Girard, he's one I'm okay with passing. Compher's going to pick this one up and finally beats a goaltender. In that moment, you had to think the Avs feel pretty good. They survived the rough first period. They get a depth goal that they've been yearning for the last 5 games, and it's a tie ball game. On a normal night, the Avs could easily run away with this game, but there were just too many problems on this one. One of those problems being the Avs not capitalizing on their chances. Instead, Minnesota does, and that ends up being the difference for the most part in the second period. About 4 minutes later, the Avs give up the next goal on a play that no coach is going to like. Probably nobody is going to like, at least if you're not a Wild fan. A shot's going to come in and skitter wide from the Wild here, and watch Donskoy during this play. We're going to stop it as it gets into the corner. You can see right there, Donskoy just crossed over to start heading towards this puck. He has a significant lead, albeit the Wild player does have a little bit of speed built up here. But Donskoy knows where the puck is. He has his head up. He knows it's bouncing off of these boards and out. He takes 2 solid strides towards it and just gives up on this play. I mean, he just stops skating for the puck entirely and gets beat clean as he reaches in with his stick. Just not acceptable. You just cannot have that. He got benched for the rest of the second period after that goal as well. So even Bednar, not happy with that one. It's just not going to fly. It allows Minnesota cleanly to keep this puck in the zone. They're able to work it down low and eventually back out high. And credit to Minnesota here. A shot comes out to the point, rather a pass comes out to the point, and the shot is going to come in from Dumba. It's a great job of a shot pass type play. He gets it through all this humanity in front as Parise sneaks back door and through bodies. Parise just going to get the stick down and out on the other side of Kadri. Perfect shot, perfect pass, perfect play. Credit where credit's due. The Avs just have to stop that before it ever happens. You just can't have that. You can't have players giving up on winnable pucks. That's just poor play from the Avalanche. Plain and simple. And they have to be better. Now, plays like that are going to happen throughout a hockey game, but for the Avs right now, just far too many of them. The next goal, while there is some bad play from the Avalanche, is pretty rotten luck. Technically, a short-handed goal as well. Is a weird situation where Avs took a penalty, and about 16 seconds later, Wild took a penalty, so they play 4-on-4 for a bit, and then it's that remaining couple of seconds of power play for the Avs where this goal happens. So, the Avs technically win this faceoff. Kadri slaps it to the outside boards, and Byram is the first one to the puck. But we're going to see another turnover. As Byram tries to spin around and get this puck back to safety, he's just going to kind of fumble the puck a little bit, and is going to get it taken away from him here, in mostly part thanks to the ref. Kadri backtracking with his man here well, but the ref is just standing right in his way. They collapse into each other. The ref gives him the full bear hug even, and Kadri gets 100% taken out of this play because of the refs. You can even see behind the play, backing off, expecting Kadri to follow this man into the corner, so the defender is trying to move off and cover something else, or even present himself as an option for a pass. Instead, it just gives all of the room in the world to Minnesota here, and walking in, you get to see Hartman just has all the space, all the time in the world, because Kadri collided into a ref. Now, to be clear, the refs are part of the playing surface. Stuff like this happens. But that is super duper unfortunate for Nazem Kadri. It's now a mess for the Avs, as the two forwards expecting possession have flown the zone here and are completely irrelevant to this play. Byram, one defender, stuck on the boards. So, yeah, that's right. Nobody covering the middle of the ice, and Hartman has all the time in the world to wait, find a spot, and shift the pass over. And just like that, Foligno makes it a 3-1 game. You gotta kind of laugh at that one, right? Out of this game, that was far from the worst the Avs played. They just had a small mistake and then a bunch of bad luck. That ends up being the game-winning goal as well, which feels pretty bad. Sometimes you just gotta ride out the tough ones. So the Avs are down 2 going into the third period, but here's the feeling here, and I think most people will agree with me that being down 2 in the third period against Minnesota, this game isn't over. The Avs have a very real chance of coming back. That is, if they were playing their best. And we saw some of that in the first part of the third period. They draw a penalty early. They had gone 0 for to that point on the power play, but it comes through to get it back to a 1-goal game. This is a good power play. Check out all the movement. Puck on the far side. The Avs are going to collect and get it back to the point. Look at Kadri's movement here. He's going to come way out high. McKinnon's way down low. Then they're going to swivel back. Puck's going to come into Kadri. He's going to get it over to McKinnon. Then he's going to sneak down low. McKinnon tries to go cross ice. It's an errant pass, but the movement has the Wild chasing. He went down to Landeskog, who's going to try to sweep it across, and it's going to be a bit errant. But now the Avs send 3 deep with Mikko collecting this puck. Mikko's going to look and hold and then get it back to the point. You've seen Minnesota's forwards. They've been skating. They've been pressuring. They've had to keep up with this player movement from the Avs. Players are getting open on the wings. They can't just sit back and relax and sit in their box. So when this one comes back to Mikko, defenseman is forced to come out and pressure because the forward is out high. That opens up Naz. Mikko, sweet sauce pass man himself, does it right here, and Naz finishes one. The power play was not bad tonight. They go 1 for 4 on the night, and really that's 1 for 3 because of the 16 seconds that wasn't really a power play at all. And their other 2 full power plays they generated quality chances on. Power play is not the problem here. But Rudo, you say, that was their first power play goal in their last 20 attempts. Yes, it's a bit of a cold streak, but go look up the team stats right now. Go do it. There's only one team in the Western Division with a better power play than the Avs, and that's the LA Kings. Vegas, the team everyone thinks is the best in the West, if not the Avs, has a power play below 20%. St. Louis, the other supposed decent team in the West, has a 13% power play. The Avs power play is sitting at 23 point something. I forget exactly what, but it's not the problem. And just like that, it's a game again. The Avs are right back in it. They get one good bounce, the way Minnesota's gotten some bounces, and it's a tie ball game. They don't get a bounce in the first 10 minutes, and then we get to those last 10 minutes, where, again, no excuse. Avs just cannot collapse, cannot make the mistakes, cannot make the bad decisions that they made in the last 10 minutes of the game. That, they just fell apart. Credit to Kaprizov here. He makes a fantastic play. I mean, he just beats the Avs, but this is a 3-on-1 situation defensively. Girard does get beaten here. He does not manage to get this puck away from Kaprizov, but honestly, and I admit that this is a bit hindsighty, you have Bowen Byram back. Bowen Byram's going to be taking anyone coming down the center of the ice here. So why doesn't Landeskog come in and assist? Make this a 2-on-1 battle for the puck. Instead, Landy kind of tries to float in the middle to protect from the high man, and Byram is kind of just sitting here now worthless. If Landy and Byram are both taking the skater going down the middle, that frees Kaprizov up to do a little bit more. He ends up making a great play here, fires it right through Landy's legs, who can't get the finish. Byram kind of overcommits to playing the pass, gets cut off in front of him. Byram had a rookie defenseman night. Let's be serious about it. He was not good tonight. That's going to happen. If you want him to be an NHL regular, that's something you have to live with as he learns to play at the NHL level. So you live with that, and it's a great backhand as well. Avs go down by 2. Game was pretty much over there. Just to prove that the Avs continue to make bad decisions here, about a minute later, Makar tries to dive in deep into the zone. He's going to bring it around that near side. The Avs commit 3 forwards deep while Makar is trying to pinch here. Is that a bad decision? Yes and no, right? They're down 2 late in the game. They're trying to be aggressive. They're trying to create something. Obviously, that part of it ends up backfiring for them. I can live with that, but the bad decision for me actually comes here. Calvert is trying to backtrack to prevent this from being a 2-on-1, and eventually kind of takes a middle stance. He doesn't really commit to either player, but starts leaning towards the boards here and moving towards Bjugstad. That's fine. It's not going to be great, but Girard commits to Bjugstad as well for seemingly no reason. You see, he stops up there and just tries to pressure him. Well, he knows there's a 2-on-1 coming on the other side. Maybe Calvert gets back if he's fully committed, and that's what Girard thought, but maybe he doesn't. There's no reason to commit this early through the neutral zone in what could have been a 2-on-1 situation against Girard, but he does, and that leads to a clean breakaway where Grubauer is going to get beat 5-hole. Did that goal really matter? No, but it did show the just weirdness. Something is off about the way the Avs are making decisions on the ice. Timmins, okay, sure, he's a rookie. Byram, same thing, but Girard shouldn't be making mistakes like that. An empty netter makes it the 6-2 final, and that is that. Honestly, just throw this one in the bin. Was it bad? Yes. Was it the sky is falling catastrophe bad? No, I don't think it was. It's not great. The Avs need to correct this immediately and start winning some games against these weaker opponents they have coming up. But don't sound the alarm just yet. By points percentage, the Avs are still 3rd in the division, well and easily in a playoff spot. Not only that, the teams in front of them are Vegas, who they just split a series with, and Minnesota, who, while they did lose tonight, they are winning the season series so far against. Beyond that, they have at least one game in hand on every single team behind them, and most of them they have 2 or 3, in one case even 4 games in hand on. If they nip this in the bud and don't let this turn into a losing streak, the Avs are just fine. They do need more out of their top line than they got tonight. That's pretty straightforward. We'll end it on a positive. They got the goal from Comfort. They got a power play goal. The surrounding pieces are starting to shake the Monkeys off a little bit. Now they just got to clean it up and play the hockey that everyone knows they're capable of playing. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching. Head on over to thednvr.com for more post-game coverage. I am Rudo, and if you watch this whole review, I'm going to assume that you don't think this game was the end of the world, at least.
Avalanche time, come on, grab your friends. We're going to the playoffs again with Nate the dog and Gabe the big. The fun isn't over yet, it is Avalanche time.